All right. Give it a second, and you guys should see my screen. So we're actually going to start with AVS, so I'll kind of move along the same path that Raj did. So I want to make sure you guys see all of the information that's available. So you saw the screenshot. I'm actually in a live demo, so we can kind of move around, and I can show you all the different components. So consider this your dashboard. This is where you can log in, and at a glance, you can see the total number of devices that any of your customers have in their particular estate, or you could combine all of your customers, however you want to choose to do that. You can see of those devices, how many of those are currently active. Some other high-level information, you can see devices that have been out of contact between 1 and 29 days, more than 30 days. You can see the total number of devices that are in repair. And if you've got devices on a Zebra OneCare Select program, we can see the number of devices that are in our spare pool. So it's just a high-level view there. Below, you see all of the detail about each individual serial number. We also have the ability to assign friendly names to those devices as well. We show first seen and last seen dates for each device, the model number, and then the status. And that status is based on what you see above. Probably the most exciting place that I like to go within the demo is the active devices dashboard, because this really starts to get into some of that predictive analytics information that Raj spoke about just a moment ago. So right now you can see I'm looking at my entire active device inventory, so equals up to 100%. I have 3 different statuses that these active devices can show up in, and Raj mentioned these as well. So we have a normal status. Normal is good. That's exactly what we want to see with devices. We also have a warning status, and Raj talked about that, where we predict about 50% confident that something's going to happen within the next 30 days to those particular devices. And you can see in my example here, I've got some service disruptions and an application issue. And we're going to go look at those in just a moment. However, we've also got a critical status. And if you remember critical status, we said 75% or more confident that something is going to go on with those particular devices within the next 30 days. So now I want to get into some detail. What is it that is going to happen to these devices? So if I scroll down and I look at my individual serial numbers, I can click on those and bring up individual information. So I can see all my device details at the top. If you wanted to, we can put a device image here. But the most important thing here is where we're using this predictive analytics. So we're saying on this device that the action you need to take is you need to lock down this device so only business applications can execute. Okay, Bobby, that's great information, but why are you telling me that? When I click on the suggested action, now I'm telling you why. I'm telling you that the reason that you need to do this is because in the data that we collected, we are seeing a significant number of reboots and high data usage. Great. You go take care of that with this particular device, and we'll get that guy right back into normal status. And we show that with all of the devices that show up in either this critical or warning status. Another area that I like to talk about is this thing called tagging. So I'm going to hop back over to the dashboard. Now, you noticed when I click on certain categories, I get these little black boxes that pop up here. And those are considered system-generated tags. So it's kind of a way of filtering the devices that you're looking at. What we allow you to do as a partner is you guys can go create custom tags. And custom tags could be anything like a location, could be a use case. So if you've got devices for a customer that are considered, on the road vehicles or in the warehouse vehicles or picking up in the warehouse vehicles, goodness, in the warehouse devices, or maybe it's a usage like picking and packing, for example. So we let you guys do that. You can create your own tags. You can edit tags that you've already created. You can assign tags, and that means you can assign the tags that you've created to a device or a set of devices. Now, what happens is once you've created all of those devices, now what you can do is you can create your own filtering mechanism. So select the different tags and you can start to filter to see where devices fall into the different statuses. All right? Okay, so that's AVS. Oh, let me talk about the red bar really quick. So the red bar is looking at the different service contracts that your customer has. If I click on View Details, what I can see is each individual contract number and when that particular contract is about to expire. So again, giving you some information so that you can be proactive about your customers and their contracts. Okay? Now I'm going to hop over to OVS, or Operational Visibility. Very different user experience here because we're really, instead of just looking at device health at a glance, now I'm looking into operational insight. Now I want to be able to dig into some more detailed information. And remember, at the OVS level, we have that added data layer coming from the mobile device management tool. So this gives me a lot more information to report on from a device perspective. This is considered your operational dashboard. Probably one of the most important areas on the dashboard here is this total device status at the bottom. So when you have a customer that's invested in a certain quantity of devices, what you and they want to be able to see on any given day is the location and condition of that entire set of devices, and that's exactly what we give you in these tables. Sites, think of those as physical locations where my devices reside, and the status of those devices. And it could be a status where they're actively out in the environment communicating with the MDM tool. Maybe they're out there but not communicating, not necessarily a bad thing, but something that you want to watch. Or they may be in some type of repair status. So maybe they're on their way to the depot, actually in the depot, on their way back, or perhaps sitting in spare pool. The next thing I want to talk about is this area called compelling events. And all of the reports that Raj talked about, those 20-plus reports, each report in OVS is represented by these little squares or widgets. And I like to call these guys smart widgets, because what we do with these is we have a key metric that we track for every single report. And on many of those reports, we allow you, the partner, to go set an upper and lower threshold against that key metric. As data is collected on any given day, that little widget is going to change colors based on how the data tracks against your key metric. If you've got a widget that pops up green, perfect, ignore it. That means you're working well within your established threshold. If a tile pops up in sort of an amber yellowish color, that means that you've approached that lower threshold, and then if it turns red, it means you've surpassed the higher threshold. So again, something that you might want to go take a look at. For OVS, we collect data in two major categories: operational data, and think of that as all the data coming from the MDM tool. We also have support data, and support data comes from Zebra internal backend systems, whether it's depot repair or technical support cases. So think of this platform as a consumer of data designed to tell you a story with the data that we've collected. Under operations, I'm just going to show you a couple of report examples. So one of the things I mentioned on the dashboard is out-of-contact devices. Obviously, you don't want a lot of devices out of contact. So when you see that number start to rise, you can come into this out-of-contact devices report, and you can see by site the number of devices that are out of contact, and by model number, and by each individual device, and the last time that device was actually seen. So you can start to drill into some pretty specific information about those devices that are out of contact. This is called our 3-table report. You'll see this report style repeated throughout the portal. However, it tells a different story with every single report. This one happens to be the out of contact. We have reports in several categories. We have devices, That's all about the physical asset and where that asset is. We have a category called utilization. So how are those devices being utilized out in the operational environment? Raj mentioned LinkOS mobile printers. Well, we've got a couple of utilization reports around those. And last but not least, batteries, because we hear all the time customers are having battery issues, so we collect a tremendous amount of information about batteries. I'm gonna pop into one other report. So this one is kind of interesting and probably one of my favorites. It is, again, the 3-table report, but again, telling a very different story. This is all about devices that are not being utilized. And how do we determine that? Well, we let you make that decision. So we give you about 10 different categories that you can choose from so that for your customer, you can define what not being utilized means. When you set that and hit apply, then the report then renders based on your selection. In this particular case, we're saying that the devices in the field have a heartbeat, which means they're connected to the MDM tool or they're reporting data, but we're not detecting any type of hourly discharge rate. Well, that probably means that those devices are sitting on a charger somewhere, equals not being utilized. Okay? In lieu of time, I'm going to hop over really quick to, this is our offline demo, and I wanted to show you it real quick because I've got some examples of some of the support reports that we show. We show categories here called queues and resolutions. So think of these as reports where we have activities that are currently open and activities that are currently closed. This is an example of our repair queue report. So any devices that are somewhere within the repair loop. Could be that the devices are due back, which means you or your customer has opened an RMA, but we haven't received the device at the depot yet. Could be those devices are physically in the repair depot being repaired. Could be their devices that I've repaired and I've shipped back to you, or we've shipped out an advanced replacement. Doesn't matter, either way. And this link's kind of cool because we do give you a live link out to the carrier's website so that you can see where that device is in transit. And then last but not least, if you've got spares that we're holding on your customer's behalf, you can see the list of those. Okay, last thing, because I know I'm running out of time. This is our case queue report. This is all about technical support cases. We do track each individual case down to the serial number if it's applicable. We also show you where all of those calls are coming in from. So how many of those calls for technical support are coming in from a particular site? What does this do for you as a partner? This allows you to look at this and go, I got a bunch of people at my site number 1 that seem to be calling in a lot. This could be a training opportunity for me. So just a way to utilize some of the data. And I'm going to pause there. If you guys ever want any other demos or any other views into the portal, you guys please let us know. And I think now I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Donna Beiersdorf.